There you are. Wanted to talk to you. You and I, you know how sometimes you spend time with people and things. What? Keep your hands where I can see them. Sheesh. Can a man address a friend without getting all weird? I was just asking a favor. You had to go all that on me. I was thinking, I do know some people out here on the surface. A person, actually. A girl I knew in Orzammar. Before I left, obviously. What? Oh, you mean were we rutting? Oh, aye. After Bronco left for the deep roads. Name's Felsi. She was a fiery one. I'm sure she's forgiven me by now. Thought maybe I'd track her down, see how she's been living. Oh, we coiled the old rope, if you know what I mean. Oiled the mine shaft. Rubbed the foreman's elbow. I tried to look her up the last time we were at Lake Calenhad. She wasn't at work at the inn. At home with her sick mother, they said. I figured it was just the ancestors telling me something. But I keep thinking about her. Well, and a good friend you are, Warden. I'll think about you if we ever... no, actually, that would be gross. No, what was it you wanted to say? You want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. You're a monster on the field already, Warden. But your style just doesn't give itself to mad rage. Too much thinking, too much, finesse. But if you know someone fit for this type of work, I'll teach him. It'll be nice to have another berserker to grunt at for a change. What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever. Aye, especially my wife. For most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition who just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. Why not? When you fight, you get mad. By the stone, it's a sodding tactic to enrage your enemy so he makes a mistake, right? Berserkers grab that anger and drink it like it's yesterday's ale. Then we turn it against our foes and watch the limbs fly. For most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition who just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. I'm listening. What about? Oh, sure. I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway. Oh, you don't know her. She was cracked like a glass floor. Before she was a paragon, I mean. After that, she really fell apart. I mean, she leaves me and flits about with that water-dart Hespith. What's she got that I don't? Just the thought of the two of them together, kissing and licking and intertwined on the floor of the deep roads. I'm just gonna go back to the tent for a moment. Excuse me.
Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? I miss Val-Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val-Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val-Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent. Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes, living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. I wouldn't want to run in it, or have to enter battle, but for lounging in a lady's sitting room, perfect. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we?
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask? How about Ogren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least. As long as he stays downwind, sure. Once he's had a bit to drink, however, forget that. There is no bit to drink with him. Where? You didn't think that big pack he brings with him is full of equipment, did you? The man is a walking brewery. Not that it's all bad. Dwarven ale has its charms, I suppose. I just don't think you need to drink to the point of blindness every time. I would too if he could stick to the ribald stories and not so much with the belching and projectile vomiting. How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow? That's a lot to put on a maybe, isn't it? He's an assassin. The crows aren't known for giving up. Maybe he's just biding his time. Well, if you are, then maybe I should too. But that doesn't mean I won't keep an eye on him. He's just too shifty. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big. The more I talk to him, the more reasonable he does seem. His philosophy is so strange. But it doesn't sound at all as vile as the Chantry describes it. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you? I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Kunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision? That's one way to put it. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life. Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan, do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said. Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all. Why, do you? Sure. Beautiful, just like something that's also dangerous, like a beautiful, dangerous thing. Oh, I give up. Do what you want. Just tell me one thing. Is it true what the others say? Do you have a thing going with Morrigan? Tell me it's not true. Oh, someone's a little touchy, eh? Attacking my manhood and everything. That must mean it's true. Well, fine. It's your funeral. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we?
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss? Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. How should I know? My mother was a whore, as you'll recall. None of the other elven boys in the whorehouse knew their fathers. I was not so unusual. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. I don't feel anything about them. Oh, we heard about them in the city. Even deep in Antiva. I even had the notion once to run off and join them. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
What's on your mind? I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there. I could sense the demons, too, and their presence frightened me. It was the kindly spirits of the Fade that took the fear from me. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word. There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe. And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles, Ostagar being one of them. I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me. I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me. I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden, and help prepare him for the task that is yet before him. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger-wagging. You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help.
You called. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. Very well. As you wish.
"'Tis cold in my tent, all alone." "So you shall come to my tent? But whatever shall we do in that tiny little space together while we wait for it to warm?" "Good. Then let us waste no more time with foolish talk." I see the stories they tell of Grey Warden endurance are not exaggerated. Indeed there are. The unanswered question, of course, is whether the endurance exists because of the taint within you, or because the Grey Wardens are by nature so very healthy. I enjoy the thought that 'tis a little of both. Natural prowess, driven by a darker side. That is entirely up to you. Simply know that I have no designs on your independence. I wish only to do what I desire, and if that coincides with what you desire, then so be it. And should you decide not to continue our misadventure, then so be it. Very simple, is it not? Oh, now you ruin the mood by speaking profanities. Silly man. Come then, let us be off before the others begin to stare.
Shale of House Kadash. Is that who I once was? I find this difficult to believe. I am not a dwarf. Or at least, I'm not a dwarf any longer. If I was this Shale of House Kadash, as Caradin said, there must be some evidence of my existence remaining. I must find it. There is another way. What Caradin said, it has allowed me to remember one thing. I believe I know where Kadash Taig is. I do not know why I am, but I am. I will mark the location on its map. If we can journey there soon, I am most curious as to what we will find.
Rough travels out here, eh? We even saw Darkspawn on the way in. We're delivering a message to the Chantry in Denerim. You? We saw a blood mage down near the Brazilian forest. We're off to tell the Chantry about him. I thought you said... Wait, you're serious? I suppose that's all right. As long as it gets there. Stay safe.
Welcome back, friend. You'll be glad to learn that the Circle is well on its way to recovery. Orzammar, indeed. You have piqued my curiosity. It is common knowledge that dwarves lack the aptitude for spellcraft. She will never be able to weave the simplest magic, no matter how hard she tries. Fascinating. I suppose the Circle should be flattered. I see. If she is willing to sacrifice so much for this, then we should feel honored. Tell Dagna of Orzammar that this path will not be easy. But if she chooses it, then she is welcome here at the Circle. She will live and study with the Tranquil, and perhaps the apprentices, when it is appropriate. If only the Circle was in better shape. I fear she may be disappointed when she arrives. This will be interesting. She could tell us much about our dwarven neighbors. Yes, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea. I shall take this as an indication that perhaps things are starting to look up for the Circle. Thank you. You've already done much for the Circle. Now you must see to your duty as a Grey Warden. I wish you well. Know you will always be welcome here.
Hello, how can I... Oh, it's you! And it's been, well, quite a while. Enough time to get to the Circle and back, I hope. Oh, please tell me what they said. Ancestors, bless you! I can't believe it! There hasn't even been a dwarven observer in the Circle since Urelden in the 13th century! I need to pack. No, my parents would get suspicious. I need to go. Is there anything I should bring? Books? Tuition? Then I should go before my parents come looking for me. If you ever go to the Circle again, maybe I'll see you there.
What do you want, Warden? You're out of your element down here. Is that so? What makes you think anyone here would turn this person in? You've walked into a sodding fight, Warden, and I've already passed your stupid tome along. Too bad for you.
As you say. You shall not touch me!
So you're the one who killed Jarvia. Do you know what you've done? Jarvia was no paragon, but she looked after her own. Even the nobles wouldn't cross her. If you think we're gonna let you waltz around like you own the place, you're wrong. For Jarvia, attack!
We will need to fight for... Flee while you can!
What do you think of that new King Balin, huh?
Just like any other noble. Wouldn't take the time to spit on the likes of us.
His woman's castless, or was. That Rika, remember her?
Got something in my... sodded.
What are you? Never mind, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's right. Keep your nose up. You know, just because we don't all live in some tower in the clouds doesn't mean we're worthless.
I didn't.
And furthermore, I don't think I appreciate the way you looked at me last night.
The way I... what?
Oh, you remember. Those longing eyes, hungry for a bit of a tussle.
I never looked at you, dwarf. Definitely not in that way.
Oh, you're right. Must have been the dog.
I knew this.
It will be done.
Coins, man.
Now you die! Yes, very well. As you say.
This is annoying.
Branka were really married?
Tell you what, boy. You ever been married?
Of course not. I was raised in the Chantry.
Think the hardest stone you can find. Marriage is for suckers.
So, no pitter-patter of little Ogwen feet running around the home cave, I take it?
All I ever got out of that moss liquor was a headache, a deaf ear, a scratched up back, and that rash it took 3 different ointments to get rid of.
Wow. She gave up on you, did she? And here you are, a keeper, too.
found it. Warden, you have my gratitude. You're a bright spot in an otherwise dark time.